Yo, what's good, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to another Tyler Perry Sistas review. This is season 4, episode 22, entitled Make Him Great. This was season 4, season finale, and y'all, out of all the television I've ever watched in my life, I believe this is by far the worst season finale I've ever had the non-pleasure of watching. And y'all know normally I do my reviews Wednesday night after the episode. I went to bed. I was just like, this episode was underwhelming. It was boring. I wish I could get my time back. I feel like Tyler it was a slap in the face in my personal opinion. And just anyway, if if this is your first time coming to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning family member, you already know what it is and what it always will be. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment if you choose to. If not, just sit back and relax, and I'm going to try to make sense of this debacle of an episode we saw last night. So of course, we pick up where we left off with Zach and Tony. This scene was entirely too long. The gist of it is Tony wanted to have sex with Zach. She thought that having sex with Zach would be a pleasurable experience for her. She just wanted to have sex with him. She promised that if they had sex, she wouldn't say anything to the SEC. Zach is thinking like, how I know you ain't gonna say nothing? She was like, I promise I'm not gonna say anything. She just wants to have sex with him. And in my mind, this woman met Zach a couple weeks ago, spent maybe 30 minutes with him, and in that time she has this burning desire to have sex with him. I'm like, Tyler, come on. I just felt like the dynamic between Zach and Tony could have been so much better. At least like, give us some suspense, give us something. Like, I wasn't a fan of this particular direction that he took their characters, but anyway, that's what it was. And so Zach basically tells her that he's not afraid. He doesn't care about going to jail. He doesn't care about dealing with the SEC. He's been through a lot worse, so he thinks. I was just over it. She told him to think about it. He said he was about to go. He took her key to get into the hotel room, and as he leaves, he calls Jake to come over to his house so that they could talk. So we get to Andy and Fatima. Fatima is acting a little bit skittish. And why I will say this, when Fatima is at work, Fatima is very well put together. Like, she be on her stuff. And she was acting very skittish, very uneasy. She just wasn't her normal self when she's in the law office. And she tells Andy, Andy is inquiring about what's wrong. And she tells Andy that, she's helped them enough. And so Andy tells Fatima, that she won't tell Karen whatever, Fatima is about to say. And the fact that Andy still says this is a huge problem for me. And I know I talked about I was going to discuss the friendship between Karen and Andy, and I still am, but I'm so glad that I waited until this episode aired, because it was stuff in this too that furthermore just demonstrates how Andy is, in my opinion, she's not a great friend and she's not loyal at all. So Fatima talks to Andy about Karen, about her popping up. Now, I do agree with that. You better get your girl. It's something that we say, when we talk, like, you better get your girl, you better get your cousin, you better tell girl, get your mama. It's something that we say, so I get it, about Karen popping up, because that is a problem. And so Andy tells Fatima that Karen regrets it. And I was just like, I'm trying to understand how you tell Fatima that you're not going to tell Karen about whatever it is she's about to confide in you, yet and still you told Fatima what Karen confided in you. And that's the big problem that I have with Andy playing both sides. She will make a blanketed statement. I'm not going to be in the middle. I won't be in the middle. I won't. And then she'll do something like tell Fatima what Karen said. Why? It's none of Fatima's business what Karen says. It's none of Karen's business what Fatima says. So if Andy can't be a mutual friend or whatever she claims to be, then she just need to leave well enough alone. But if I was Karen, I would be the friend that say, baby girl, you ain't even got to make the decision. I'm going to make it for the both of us. How about I love you, always will, but when it comes to us, we done. Like, however I would word it, but that's what it will boil down to me. So Fatima talks to Andy about Zach and how much, how she loves him, how he's this great guy, and about how, he's never had a woman to ride for him and hold him down. I don't agree with that. And neither does Andy, based on her response. So, not about the car, because I didn't even like that. But I was like, Tyler, you tried to be real deep. It didn't work, but I see where you were going with it, bro. But when Fatima made that statement about how, Zach never had a girl to ride for him and hold him down, and the things that she was saying, like, I feel like I can make him better and all these other things like that. But Andy did say something that I felt wrong, very true. She said, this sounds familiar, because I'm sure these are the same exact things that Karen once told her at the beginning stage of her relationship with Zach. And so one of the things that I wish, that we all could come to a consensus of as a fandom is that when we were introduced to these characters, more specifically Karen and Zach, they were at the end of their relationship. We didn't get to see the happy times. We did see the first episode, Zach tell Karen, I've never had a woman like you. I'll never find another woman like you. And these are some of the same things that he has since told Fatima. So I believe that there was a part of their relationship where they were happy, they were in love, they were doing things to make the other person, to put a smile on their face. And just like time does, if you're not careful, it has the ability to put a toll on a relationship, especially if you're dealing with emotionally immature people and people who cannot cipher their emotions intellectually. Then you have people who go out and cheat. Then you have people who begin to speak down to the person that they're with, call them out their names. These are all things that we have witnessed with Zach and Karen. So we get half of people who say, well, all she did was talk down to him. All she did. That's not all she did. At the end of their relationship, that's where they were. They were no longer good together. They were not making each other happy, but sex was the one thing that they had that was like Velcro. You know what I'm saying? It was something that always brought them back. So I think that if we're going to, give a true depiction of the relationship, we know that it was bad, but we know that it wasn't all bad. You know what I'm saying? So when Fatima's like, he ain't never had a woman like that. And I'm thinking, how do you know that? You don't know that. I believe Karen held him down very well. It don't look like Zach missed a meal. It looked like he was very well taken care of. He had a job. He really wasn't providing financially. Okay. And it doesn't seem like, even with Fatima, I get to her because I ain't gonna overstep that. But I get to her in a minute. I just feel like in the beginning, what we see with Zach and Fatima is what Karen and Zach had, and it just went sour. So, moving on, Sabrina and Bayo, she's ignoring him. I guess he be trying to text her or whatever, get in touch with her. She's ignoring him. She's at this juice shop or something, and he ends up coming into there, and he wanted to apologize about the thing with Danny, and he was saying that, Danny reminds him of a tribe of women in his country who are very beautiful and things of that nature, and that's what she reminded him of. This storyline is so weak. At first I was into it. I'm like, okay, maybe Sabrina's getting a new love interest. I'm here for it because I don't like her with Calvin. But it fell flat for me. This episode, it just really fell flat. I don't know. That's really all it was. He asked when he could see her again. I think she said soon. I don't know. A lot of this stuff, I'm like, I was watching the TV and I'm thinking, this the season finale? This is the season finale. Cool. Moving right on along, we get to Danny and Logan. And so Logan shows up to the airport and he apologizes about the night before. And Danny lets him know that, he's wrong about Sabrina. Like, whatever he thinks she was involved with, that's not her. That's not her style. She's not that type of person. And so he asked to take her to dinner, which she declines. I'm like, why would I want to go out with you and you are investigating my friend on a bank robbery? And I'm telling you, she has nothing to do with it. And I know you can't take somebody's word for it, but the fact that you could trust Q, who is already a sketchy character and someone who can't be trusted, that entire storyline just disturbs my spirit to the utmost because it's just so damn stupid. And I try, like, I be watching it and I be like, okay, every Wednesday, I watch with the intent, like, you know, like, please let it be the episode, you know, and then we get something like this. And first of all, the funniest part of this scene for me was when Logan was there to get his fellow FBI buddies who was flying into Atlanta. They already had on their FBI gear. They was dressed like they were going to war. I'm like, y'all weren't trying to be inconspicuous. Y'all weren't trying to, like, hide under the radar. You pop up, you show up with your FBI vest on. I'm like, really? Ah, God. A mess. Okay, just a mess. So Gary and Fatima, we see Gary at the law firm, and he says, Fatima walked past him, and then she stopped and walked back and asked him what he was doing there. And he says that he's there to see his lawyer. And she tells him basically, Andy doesn't want to see you. And he says, that beat is not my lawyer. I was like, whoa. Okay. So Gary is there to see Hayden. Hayden is his lawyer. And basically, he wants to know how he can get his condo back. Hayden tells him that he could sue Andy for the condo. And he was like, okay, yeah, let's do that. He was like, and you can sue for pain and suffering. I said, wait a minute. If anybody needs to sue for pain and suffering, it needs to be Andy. She needs to sue for pain and suffering when he squeezed her almost half lifeless ass to death. That's who needed. I said, Lord, I said, Father, I feel, I'm going to try to save all my negativity till I'm done. Because I ain't going to say negativity. I'm just going to try to save this harsh truth till I'm done with everybody. So Jake and Zach, they're at his house or whatever, and Zach tells Jake about the situation with Tony, and Fatima walks in when they're talking about him having sex with her, and she overhears it, and basically she tells Zach to sleep with Tony, wrap it up because you already got enough kids. I was like, what in all the hell? Basically, she was like, she says if you sleep with her, she's not gonna talk, do what you gotta do. And I was like, okay. I didn't know what to think about that. And I tend to put myself in situations like, how do I think I would respond to that? Number one, I don't want my man putting his penis anywhere that doesn't include me. That came out wrong because that make it sound like a threesome can happen. That's not what I mean. I do not want my man with any other woman. I don't want my man being intimate, being sexually involved with any other woman besides me. I do not see myself granting permission for whatever the case may be for him to go and engage in sexual activities with another woman, regardless of what it is. So in my mind, the whole time I'm thinking, Tony is not going to do anything because if she gives Zach up, then she has to give herself up because she's the one who gave him the tip. So I'm like, why are we not thinking along those lines? Like, why are we not thinking that? And then Fatima ended up going back to work because she told Andy she ended up leaving her laptop or she left something at home and she was going to get it and then come back to work. And so that's basically was how that was. So we get to Karen and she's at work or whatever, and her and Pam are talking, and Pam tells her, like, you don't look too good. You look like you eaten? You need to go home and rest or whatever. And it looked like Karen gradually began to not feel good. And Pam told her that she was bleeding, and she grabbed Pam's hand, and that was the last that we saw of Karen for season 4. I said, what the hell is that? What the hell was that? I think she was on our screen for maybe a minute and a half, and that's all we saw. And so we have to wait until October to find out, is Karen having a miscarriage? What's going on with her body right now? We have to wait until October, whatever date. I'm not sure the specific date yet, to find out what's going on with that. Calvin wasn't in this episode, which I don't care about that. Aaron wasn't in this episode. I was like, I understand why, I do. So that's all that was with them. And so we see Danny and Preston, he comes to the airport letting her know that he's leaving Georgia for good because there's nothing there in Atlanta for him anymore. And he tells her that, he wishes that he knew what he did and what he did wrong, and lets her know that, I know you're going to say that's the problem. And she states that, like, that's the problem. I saw a lot of people like really going in on Danny. I saw some people who were defending Danny. And I've always been like, not on the fence, because I do understand where Danny is coming from with some of her concerns. I do. On the other hand, I believe that Danny was not very open to a lot of the things when it came to Preston. I feel like, you have these two individuals, these two different races, ethnicities, and two totally different cultures. And if you're going to put yourself in a position to date seriously outside of your race, there may be some things that you have to explain. Now, if I have to, dot every I and cross every T with you because I'm a black woman, I don't need to be with you. Just period. And so I feel like there were some things that, Preston was definitely, I know that he's green. I get that, but he's not stupid, simple, or slow. And I think that there were just some things that Preston used his naivety on. But it's like, you don't get no pass with that. Like, I feel like the whole thing with Zach, getting that bad advice from Zach, actually using it was horrible. I think there's a difference when, you trying to do whatever to get this person to talk to you or try to make her see that you're a good catch. I do get that. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand. However, when you begin to try to make someone feel jealous and you try to like manipulate people, that's when it becomes a problem. And to me, that's what Preston began to do in the latter part of his situation with Danny. I'm meaning in the last couple episodes, with taking this advice from Zach, dating these girls, taking them to Danny's favorite spot, even having them go to Karen, like dating a client of Karen's in her face, like she's gonna tell her friends. So those were things I didn't agree with Preston. The scene, I don't know, I didn't get choked up about it. Like, I was watching it, but because I feel like there has been so much time between us seeing Danny and Preston in a loving situation or a cohesive situation, I really didn't care about it. I don't want the brother to leave, you know what I'm saying? I don't, but it was like, at this point, what are you staying for? Like, I understood. Like, he was saying, like, there's no purpose in you saying anything because my mind is already made up. And she was like, there he go again, running. Like, when things get hard, he runs. Also, on the other hand, too, with Danny, it's like, what the hell do you want? I don't even think she knows, because right now, as we see, Danny, well, we haven't seen, El Fuego, but she has 3 love interests right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what do you want? And I think it was sad to see, because there is potential with Danny and Preston, but I don't really know where it can go. Like, I think there'll always be a problem with them if they ever did decide to take each other seriously again. Zach, Tony, and Fatima. Tyler might as well include in Fatima's wardrobe a cape, okay? Because Fatima is super save a hoe. You know what I'm saying? And this ain't got nothing to do, because people, it amazes me. I love dialogue. I love engaging, talking to people who may have a difference of opinion than me. One of my good friends, I consider her like my sister. She is a Zatima like fan, and I'm not. Like, I'm not. Everybody know that. However, I don't try to bash her. I do like Fatima. I don't dislike her. But it's like, when you look at the balance of the women on this show, when you look at Karen, Andy, Danny, and Sabrina, and then you look at Fatima, it's like, okay, Tyler, how much of an imbalance are you going to write this character? I am a woman who loves a man's man. Not that I don't cover my man in prayer. Not that I don't esteem him or acknowledge his greatness and speak greatness into him. But I know when to fall back and let him handle his business as a man. For me, watching Fatima throughout the entirety of her and Zach being together, she did make a statement to Andy about her really not trusting Zach's judgment, and that's what concerns her. And I understand that completely. But at the same time, you can't come in, swoop, and save the day all the time. Like, let this man take care of his business. The thing with them, when Zach, he was drinking, but he decided like he just couldn't do it, or whatever the case may be. And everybody was telling him like, be bad at sex. Like, he was like, I don't even know how to do that. Like, I don't even know how to be bad at, in sex. And it's like, you're getting extorted. You're getting blackmailed, and somehow the comedy finds a way. And don't get me wrong, I love that comedy can break the code of seriousness, but at the same time, it's like sometimes it's not even warranted. Like, you already, like, just the dynamic alone, you already got this old white woman who looking at this young, fine black man who wants to use him for sex. Like, it's already an issue there. You know what I'm saying? But it was like, when Zach went to leave, Fatima was on the other side of the door. I'm like, how did she know? How did she know what room to go to? I don't remember them discussing that in detail, but of course it's TV magic. She just magically, she's a superhero. She's Captain Planet. She's Captain Save-A-Ho, so she know everything. You know what I'm saying? So she knew what door to go to. She knew to be outside the door because Zach was finna open it, like all that. And she came in there and did what Fatima does. And Tony acting like she's scared of Fatima. Oh my God, you're not gonna tell anybody, are you? I'm like, girl, please. Please, I hate that narrative. If people can say what they want to about Karen, and don't get me wrong, Karen gets on my nerves when it comes to her acting like, this whole Zach situation. But the one thing I will give Karen props on, she does not back down from Fatima. She's not intimidated or anything, even though she need to go sit her little ass down somewhere. I do give her props because everybody else who has to come in contact with Fatima, when she says what she got to say, act like they scared. I hate the fact that Zach acts like he's scared of Fatima. When she went to go grab her purse to leave, when she told him to go have sex with the woman, he was like, what you grabbing your purse for? She was like, let it go. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just certain things. Their dynamic is not appealing to me. You cannot like something and not be a hater. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause people love to call you a hater if you don't like somebody that they like, or if you don't like the majority. I don't like them as a couple. I'm not hating on them. They're just not my cup of tea, because I feel like at the end of the day, I don't like Zach acting like that. You know what I'm saying? Where he acting like he's afraid of her. He's scared. I don't like that. That's just me. I don't like that part. But anyway, basically, they leave. It wasn't nothing much to talk about with that scene, whatever. So we get to Maurice and Sabrina there at the bank. Logan comes in, let them know that they are under arrest for, I forget what the charge was, conspiracy to something like that with the robbery. They have the confession from Maurice, and that's how the episode ended, with the FBI raiding the bank and Maurice and Sabrina, being sent away to go to jail, and that's how the episode ended. So obviously you could tell I was disappointed with this episode. And there were just so many things that were like, and don't get me wrong, I don't mind if a season finale ends on the cliffhanger, or if it doesn't end on the cliffhanger. That's not a big thing for me. That's not a big draw for me. I felt like Zach and Fatima's scenes were entirely too long, that Tyler could have cut 2 minutes out of each of those scenes, where you could have had 6 to 8 minutes of other storylines being talked about, or putting more emphasis on those. Like the whole Sabrina and Bio scene, to me, could have been cut. It wasn't even needed. Like, it added nothing to the story. He already told us about the women that Danny reminds him of. We didn't need for him to send Sabrina, show Sabrina a picture, text it to her, then for her to send it to Danny. We didn't need all of that. Like, to me, that was just so unnecessary, but that's to be expected. Like, we understand Tyler, and we understand like the dynamic and the order as to how these things go. But it was just, to me, it was a disappointment, after this season, for it to end. It wasn't like this season was all that great, but for it to end the way that it did, it was like, I have no words. I have no words. I have no words. Me and my friend, she asked me what I thought about the season finale, and I was like, girl, I have no words. Like, literally, I have no words. But we know the show comes back in October. I'm not sure, like I said earlier, exactly the specific date. But we know it comes back in October. I have a whole lot of videos that I've already began to outline for Sistas. I think I'm more excited in coming up with my own ideas and listening to what some of y'all, what y'all want me to talk about. I have more excitement, and I have more like, I'll use excitement. I have more excitement doing that than actually reviewing the show, because it's like, it's the dragging just gets me. The dragging gets me. I feel like it's not a lot put into these storylines anymore. I feel like it's kind of like, well, they love Sistas. Sistas is a big, thing. There is no like intentionality with these storylines, just for me, just for me as a fan, just some of the things I expect. I don't have any expectations of Sistas. Whatever comes on Wednesday, just come on, and I review it. But, so I thank you guys for listening to this, video. You know what I'm saying? I pray that all of y'all are doing great, in health, finances, employment, following your dreams, all that. And I have something else. I'll do a video, sometime this week, and I will do the video on Karen and Andy's friendship. And so until next time, I will holler at y'all later. We got through season 4. Y'all. It was rough, but we made it. So until next time, I will holler at y'all later.